Just because someone likes the same books or food as you doesn't mean that they won't make a pass at your man or that they won't take money from your handbag. Always be sure to look for good character and good values. Hi, ladies. Welcome back to the Feminine Universe. I am so happy to have you here. Friendship is such a beautiful thing. There are shows and movies based on it. There are endless quotes and cliches about the joy that friends bring into our lives. And for those of us who have been blessed with good friends, we know that it's all true. The one thing that seems to be missing, though, is information on how to make these wonderful friends and build these oh so sacred relationships. So that's exactly what we're going to get into today. How to meet and make quality friends and how to nurture and maintain those relationships as an adult. So if you could use some of that in your life, let's get started. Before we dive all the way in, let's start with a little pre-tip, which is to let go of any baggage keeping you from making friends. Whether that's previous drama or bad experiences in past friendships, or preconceptions and misconceptions about women being catty or competitive within friendships. Just because some women behave this way doesn't mean all women behave this way. Just like in a romantic relationship, you don't want to taint or ruin new bonds because of things that happened in the past. Let go of any bitter, negative, or suspicious energy and step into the process on a positive note. Now for tip number 1, I'd say to make a point to be open and friendly. I want you to shake off any standoffish energy or any shy or withdrawn energy and make a conscious decision to be a little more open. So often we get comfortable saying over and over in our heads that we don't need friends, or maybe we've even been taught that by well-meaning family members who didn't want to see us get hurt or led astray. So now as an adult, you need to actually get into the mindset of viewing yourself as someone who wants friends. It's okay. In fact, it's normal, healthy actually. As we've spoken about, humans are a social species. We are all about interacting, socializing, and creating groups. Next, I want you to be open to the people around you that you already know who could be possible friends, who could be seeds that could potentially be watered into a blooming garden of friendship. Like that cousin you always have fun with at the family functions, but don't really see in between, that childhood friend that you fell out of touch with, the person you always talk to in class, or your favorite coworker. Try hanging out one-on-one, maybe with a lunch, a dinner, or an event you've been wanting to attend, and see if there are any friendship sparks. And lastly, when it comes to being open, get out there. You can get out there virtually at first. Websites like meetup.com allow you to meet people based on your zip code and topics or activities that you're interested in, from languages to sewing to book clubs. The dating app Bumble also apparently has a friend version called Bumble BFF, which I was completely stunned to find out about while researching for this video. So if you are an app girl, that could be a winner. You should also make an effort to get out there in person. Take a cooking class, get back into painting, go to the same park or gym regularly. That's one of my friendship hacks, is to try to frequent some of the same places regularly. That allows you to build up some familiarity and slowly increase the amount of conversation. So if you're more of an introvert or you take a little time to warm up, it's not as intimidating as having to hit it off at a one-time event like a concert. Be open to invitations as well. Say yes instead of coming up with the quickest excuse to get out of things. This is not the end-all be-all by any means, but it's a great place to start. If you're seriously looking for friends or a romantic relationship, I'd say you should be out there mingling and engaging at least once a week, not once a month or every other month. And when you're out there, smile, chit-chat, compliment people, get to know people, and put out an energy that says, I'm friendly and open to friendship. The next tip is to choose wisely. Now, just because we're being more open to friendship doesn't mean that we have no standards or that we stop making smart decisions. Just like being open to dating doesn't mean you go along with the first guy you meet on the street. In the same way, we need to remember that friend is a serious title, and just because we see someone often or share space with them in some way, it doesn't automatically make them a friend. Now, I'm not saying that a roommate or coworker can't go on to be the most wonderful friend you've ever had. I've been fortunate enough to experience that, but I'm just saying it's not a given. It's not this automatic thing that happens. So many women are disappointed to find out that their coworker or that girl from book club or their other hobby group didn't really make good friends. While proximity and similar interests and hobbies are a great way to initially meet people, that cannot be the only factor. We have to choose friends based on similar character, integrity, and values. Just because someone likes the same books or food as you doesn't mean that they won't make a pass at your man or take money from your handbag. Think about what qualities are important to you. Assess what kind of behaviors this person views as okay. How do they deal with conflict? How do they treat people? What is their general take on life? Finding similarities in those areas will get you off to a much better start. Also, don't fall for the scammer type of friends, either those who want everything from you but offer nothing in return, or the type that are just looking for fans to worship them, or those sugar baby friendships which people form with people they think they can benefit from. Yes, that's a real thing. We'll talk more about the types of women to beware of as we grow and move forward, but definitely keep this in mind as you choose wisely. Tip 3 is to be in alignment. Two individuals can both be great people, yet not be in alignment. They can be great people, but not be great for each other. So remember that everyone views friendship a little differently. We have different expectations, we're looking to put in different amounts of time, and we're open to reaching different levels of intimacy. Some people think friends are for sharing your deepest thoughts and taking your secrets to the grave. Others think that friends are for turning up and taking fun trips, but not really getting too emotionally attached, especially if they're the type that prefers to move from place to place very often. Most people fall somewhere in the middle, and none of it is wrong if both people are on board or in alignment. It's just about making sure you know what to expect and that you both are on the same page about how you view friendship, or at least knowing what type of friendship you have. Make sure you're not looking for a soul sister in someone who just wants something light, social, and surface level. That's like looking for a serious relationship with a man who's just looking for fun. Also, look for alignment on how you deal with situations. Some people are the type to sweep things under the rug and move on. Some won't let anything go unless it's talked about. Some people are a little mouthy and tend to get into altercations while out and about, and they will expect their friends to have their back. Others prefer to move through the world peacefully and quietly and don't want to constantly have to jump in and participate or rescue friends from sticky situations. Another area for alignment is liking similar things or being willing to take turns. Friends don't need to be twins, but unless you both have a true love for constantly trying new things, which some people will say but don't actually mean, it will be easier if you have at least some things in common and aren't always on opposite ends of the spectrum. As we mentioned in the last tip, I don't think we should choose friends solely based on liking the same things, but I think it is an important factor so that there won't always be this constant tug of war when it comes to planning activities, choosing events, or even just agreeing on restaurants, because that will get very old very fast. My next tip for you is don't rush. Take your time to get to know new friends or potential friends, and I mean take your time in every way. Take time before ever lending money or sharing keys to your space. Don't book a 10-day trip or decide to share an apartment with someone you've only known for a month or two. Start off with dinner, then maybe a wine tasting day trip, graduate to weekend getaways before committing to a longer trip. Same goes for sharing your very personal information. See if they're the type to share the information of others with you, especially the types of things that were clearly shared in confidence. See what happens after the first few disagreements you have. Does everyone know about it? Are you hearing other things that you previously shared with them floating around? You don't really know how someone will behave until you've actually been through certain situations with them. Who someone is when they are in nice mode or happy mode may be totally unrecognizable when they are angry or feel slighted. Give yourself time to organically experience how someone behaves in different situations before fully committing and letting them all the way in. My next piece of advice is to put in effort. Now, after you've gone through all of this exploring and vetting, and you've decided that this person is someone you can be friends with, put in effort and try your absolute best to be a good friend. I've noticed that because friends usually fall into the want, not need category, especially after high school or college, when you don't need people to sit with in the cafeteria anymore, we can sometimes treat friends as disposable. Some women will bend over backwards for a man they just met, but not spare a second thought about their friend's needs. And I think that's another major reason why some friendships, just like relationships, fizzle out or just end, because one person feels like the other isn't as invested or isn't putting in as much effort as they are. So for a few examples of what putting effort looks like, I would say check in regularly, whatever is regular for your friendship, whether that's once a day, once a week, once a month. Remember their birthday and make them feel special. And even when it's not your birthday, let's just normalize spoiling our friends a little bit. Some women have never received or never given a just because gift. And this doesn't always have to be something big or flashy, but it can be someone's favorite candy bar while you're out. It can be bringing over a bottle of their favorite wine or their favorite takeout or cooking their favorite meal. And if you do have it like that, it can be something a little more splashy. Also, be available when your friends need you. Not saying to be up at 3 a.m. every day, but if your friend is having a crisis, if they need you, try to rearrange things to be available. Support their endeavors, support their business ideas, promote their businesses, pay for their business and services while they're trying to get up off the ground. Don't seek free or discounted favors. Invest in them. Celebrate their wins. Even if they don't want to make a big deal about a new job or promotion, make sure you're the one saying, nope, we are celebrating this. We're going out. We're doing something. And lastly, be protective and loyal. No one should feel comfortable speaking badly about your friends in front of you. Be protective and be loyal. Be someone that can be trusted with secrets. Be someone who will have their friends' backs. Be someone who will speak up for them in their absence. My next tip is to communicate. We all know communication is one of the most important parts of any relationship, and that's why the lack of communication skills in some adults these days can be a little frightening. It seems to freeze somewhere in middle school, where whispering about others behind their back or overly aggressive, childish methods of confrontations are the only options. We have to make a choice to be better. Be aware that we all have different life experiences and different pain points, and it takes clear communication to express that and to learn to understand each other. We are taught to treat others how we want to be treated, and while that's a great rule of thumb generally, there will still be things that you'll be okay with that someone else doesn't like, and vice versa. In some cultures, it's normal for people to speak loudly and cut each other off when animated and excited. It doesn't mean that the person doesn't respect you. That's normal from where they're coming from. People who are very open and share a lot may not think it's a big deal to talk about or ask you certain things around others. As a very private person, I've had to point this out to people a few times, and we need to be able to understand the person and where they're coming from, or be able to simply say, I know you probably didn't mean anything by that, but it made me a little uncomfortable when you asked me about blank at the dinner table with everyone. Going forward, I'd prefer to talk about things like that one-on-one. And that should be all that needs to be said to someone that respects your feelings. No harm, no foul. Just communicate. And for my final tip, I will say to give grace. None of us are perfect. Mistakes will happen. You will make them, others will make them. That's life. You can't dump people for every minor slight or error, or you'll spend your whole life picking up and dumping people and never establishing deep, meaningful relationships because they'll all be 2 seconds old. Honestly, you can only reach but so much depth with someone you met a month ago. Be willing to hear someone out. This is why it's so important to be in alignment and to communicate. Never underestimate the power of saying, "Help me understand where you're coming from." And definitely don't underestimate the power of saying, "I'm sorry." Many friendships have died over the lack of those 2 words. Very few mistakes are actually unforgivable. We just all need to be more willing to ask for forgiveness when it's warranted and grant it whenever it's possible. And of course, always strive to do better next time. And there you have it, loves. My little guide on how to make and keep great friends and how to also be a great friend. May you find the women who will stand by you through your ups and downs, share your joys and triumphs, lift you up when you're feeling low, and always push you to be better. Until next time, ladies, stay feminine, stay focused, and have fun.